do is...
Go back! Go back!
Can you imagine being a cop in New York City? Can you imagine waking up every morning or leaving your family in the evening to work the night shift, and one of the main parts of your job is dealing with this stupidity, dealing with paid agitators, dealing with radical Islamists, most of which aren't even here legally? Dealing with indoctrinated college students and woke white women screaming, "Free Palestine!" And while we're at it, Free Willy! Let me ask you something. If woke white women and radical Islamists are so concerned about Palestine, what the hell are they doing here in America? How are you freeing Palestine while dropping freshly baked turds on the sidewalks in New York City? How are you helping the Palestinians by fighting with the NYPD, who, last I checked, didn't have a damn thing to do with Palestine? No wonder the New York Police Department is seeing a mass exodus. No wonder New York City can't find cops who are willing to work. According to recent estimates, New York City is losing somewhere between 250 and 300 cops every month. Nearly 15,000 cops have quit in the last 4 years. According to union leaders, the current head count of around 33,000 cops, it is the lowest in decades. And the cops who aren't quitting, the brave men and women who continue to deal with constant riots or Islamists waving Palestinian flags while screaming Allahu Akbar in their faces, ducking Molotov cocktails, the cops that remain who aren't paid nearly enough to deal with this bullshit, at least one of them is now at risk of being fired. Why? Watch for yourself.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani
You don't like Mamdani, but he's your boss.
Nonsense. He's an
He's about
embarrassment of nonsense.
Yo, you saying your mayor is an embarrassment?
How's my mayor?
That was Captain James Wilson. Now, unlike the usual captains that we talk about here on the channel, James Wilson is not Captain Doofus. He is the captain of the 94th Precinct in Brooklyn. Right now, he is at risk of being fired over the comments that he made in this video about Zohran Mamdani and the Party of the Donkey. Translation: Captain James Wilson, he is at risk of being fired for telling the truth. To be honest with you, I would not be surprised if Captain Wilson did this intentionally. While on duty, police officers, they are not allowed to comment on politics, which means they are the only people in the country who aren't allowed to talk about it. As you guys know, the disease of politics, it has infected every aspect of American culture. It's damn near become mandatory to talk about this incurable disease on a daily basis. But if you're a cop in New York City, talking about doofus Democrats, that is no bueno. My guess is Captain Wilson, he knew exactly what he was doing. It sounded like he was talking to a group of people who like riding the donkey. More than likely, he's got a full pension. Maybe he's looking to be honorably discharged by being fired for telling the truth about Zohran Mamdani. Unfortunately, though, for Zorro, the NYPD is not the only thing in New York City that is experiencing a mass exodus. As the city continues to be overrun by communist and radical Islamists, as residents continue to be rudely awakened every morning at 5 a.m. by the Islamic call to prayer, thousands and thousands of people, they have made the decision to get the hell out of this dump. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about the public humiliation of Draymond Green, the role player who disguises himself as a superstar. He was absolutely exhoriated by Austin Rivers. It was one of the best verbal beatdowns I have ever seen. You do not want to miss it. So click the link in the description below. Subscribe to the second channel. Watch the video. Headline at Fox 5 in New York City. New York City population declines again. I wonder why. Over the last couple of years, New York City has actually seen population gains. Problem is, most of the increases, it's coming from immigrants, whether legal or illegal. The American-born population in New York City is rapidly declining. Now, to his credit, former Mayor Eric Adams, he tried to combat the mass influx of immigrants last year. His tighter immigration policies, it reduced international migration by 70%. In the last few years, though, New York City's lost almost 300,000 people who moved to other places in New York State. They've lost almost 200,000 who moved to New Jersey. Over 100,000 moved to Florida. Are you starting to understand how Zohran Mamdani got elected? With that many Americans moving out, and with a massive influx of immigrants moving in, many of which came from Islamic countries, it's not hard to figure out why Zorro got elected. Unfortunately for the remaining Americans in New York City, I think it's going to get significantly worse. Damn near every week, there seems to be radical Islamists in the streets of New York City. They are either protesting for Palestine, protesting some mythical American king. Ironically enough, most of the countries they immigrated from have a real king. They escaped the real king, come over here to America to protest a mythical king. A couple of months ago, or whenever the hell Ramadan was, they turned Times Square into a public mosque. There were reports that Islamists were complaining because street vendors were serving food during fasting hours. How dare you tempt me with good food? Don't you know it's Ramadan? I'm fasting right now. I guess Stanley from Staten Island, who runs the hot dog stand in Times Square, I guess Stanley didn't get the memo. You were not allowed to make a living. You were not allowed to serve fresh wiener while Mahmoud is fasting. Me personally, I think what we are seeing in New York City is by design. I know Zohran Mamdani claims to be a democratic socialist, or as normal people prefer to call it, communist. But like I told you guys before, I think Zorro is using communism as a disguise. I think Zohran Mamdani is an Islamist. Either way, the strategy is always the same with communist and Islamist. They destabilize the city by making it impossible for police to do their jobs. Police are presented as the enemy. Every time they make an arrest, some woke district attorney or woke judge releases the criminal without bail. Naturally, morale plummets in the department and cops quit. Once there is a shortage of police officers, the paid agitators emerge. They disrupt the peace. They fill the streets with protest and fresh duty. They make it impossible for normal people to live their day-to-day lives. The rise in crime, combined with the constant protest, it causes thousands of people to get the hell out of there. Now, the media, they refer to this as white flight. But it's not just white people leaving. Black people, Mexican people, Asian people, normal Muslims who just want to live in peace, anyone with money and resources. They get out of this dump because normal people do not want to live this way. Eventually, all you're left with is communist and Islamist, and they fight each other to gain control and power. For some reason, no one seems to be talking about this. Matter of fact, we have some in so-called conservative media defending the Islamist. Tucker Carlson's one of the main ones. Hey friends, it's me, Tucky! Islam is your friend! Megyn Kelly, who just 4 months ago was screaming about radical Islam. She was doing her usual thing where she's unnaturally cursing. I don't know what it is about Megyn Kelly, but I feel secondhand embarrassment every time she cusses. She needs to hire a speech pathologist to teach her how to properly use cuss words. It's like she's trying to fit in with the boys. Megyn Kelly, she has become the ultimate pick-me girl. But anyway, 4 months ago, she is rightfully criticizing radical Islam. But now, all of a sudden, when her YouTube numbers start circling the pooper, Megyn Kelly is suddenly a defender of Islam. Watch for yourself.
Islam is not consistent with the values of America. They should stay in countries that don't care about keeping church and state separated. They should stay in countries that don't care about protecting free speech. They should stay in countries that don't care about women's rights. If you don't mind living in a life as a woman where you have to keep every inch of your body except for your eyeballs covered, yeah, someplace in the Middle East could be for you. It's not America's thing, and it's not a thing that we should want or encourage in the West. I think he's understanding there may be some new listeners over here. You know, like he's gotten very, very popular lately, I read, with Muslim viewers because he's been standing up for Islam. It's been something I've noticed just since I've gotten sort of more clear-eyed on Israel, that a lot of the anti-Muslim rhetoric that's put out there originates with people who are very, very pro-Israel. There's no such thing as Islamophobia. You are not only entitled to, quote, fear Islam, I would argue it's your duty as a Christian to stand up and fight against it. He's having a lot of Muslim viewers flock to him. And so while he may have lost some contingent of the Fox News audience that's very, very pro-Israel and pro-Trump, and you can't say anything about Trump, for every one of those who leaves, there is another newer, younger audience member. It is not consistent with the values of the West or America.
Megyn Kelly just said the quiet part out loud. 2 months ago, Megyn Kelly got on Twitter to brag about her success on YouTube. Hey boys, look at me, look at me. I'm super popular. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and damn right, it's better than yours. I guess Megyn Kelly's milkshake ended up being served with rotten milk. Last month, Megyn Kelly lost 30,000 subscribers, almost 100 million views. She went from 138 million down to a cool 46 million in the span of 60 days. That is not a decline, that is a collapse. On average, Megyn Kelly uploads 17 videos a day, which means her average video gets around 90,000 views. I wonder why she is suddenly pro-Islam. You just heard her say it. My friend Tucker has been able to build an audience with Islamic viewers. It's all about the clicks. It's not about the news. It's not about being truthful with your audience. The only thing they care about is money. If I remember correctly, Megyn Kelly lives in New York City. She is directly impacted by what Zohran Mamdani is doing. In the last month or two, guess how many times I have seen Megyn Kelly talk about Zorro or criticize Zorro? Just take a wild guess. To my knowledge, 0. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.